Hi again, everybody. Mr. Seamhead here, talking baseball, all things baseball and nothing but baseball. Tonight, I'd like to talk about the four players that were suspended for PED use earlier in the day. Today being April 4th, still barely, at least here in Colorado. Four players suspended were Jose Rondon, Richard Rodriguez, Danny Santana, and Pedro Severino. First three, Santana, Rodriguez, and Rondon all tested positive for, I believe it's pronounced the Boulder 1. It's an anabolic steroid. So it's looking to gain some speed and some strength. It sounds like trying to get a jump, trying to get an edge on the plane, on the other players as well. This, I believe, fully deserves their full 80 game suspension, as it was the first suspension for all of them. But on top of that, I wasn't certain. I'm still not certain that Pedro Severino deserves the 80 game suspension. Now I understand that if you it's performance enhancing or masking, what have you, it's all the same thing. But sometimes we need to use a little bit of common sense here and look at this. This seems to be an honest mistake. Now I understand that clomiphene, I believe it's pronounced, is a banned substance worldwide for athletes, pretty much everywhere, and this is something that you need to know that you're putting in your body. But at the same time, his family physician prescribed him this fertility drugs because him and his wife were trying to start a family. The doctor should also be aware that his patient is a professional athlete and should be well aware that this is something that is banned, that is something that he should not have in his body. So I think out of just honest belief of his doctor and trust in his doctor, he's taken this to try to start his family. At first I was thinking maybe just suspend the guy 20 games because you do need it. And I understand, again, his 80 game suspension is typically how it goes. But look into this. The other three guys obviously were trying to gain an edge. This guy, maybe he was masking. Maybe he was doing it because it is used as a masking agent to help try to bring down the testosterone, which can come up in things like HGH, start testosterone, stuff like that that they do use. So there is that. So I understand that he just can't walk away scot-free on this. Now I also think that we shouldn't forget this. We remember that it happened. So if something does happen to him a second time, then there's no leniency. Then boom, you get the full 162 because you already popped once. But sometimes there needs to be justification. Like across the board, most times, just if it's an 80 game suspension, you did the steroids, what have you, you're suspended 80 games. You're prescribed something from a legitimate doctor for fertility, then yeah, okay, he definitely should be punished. He did something. He took something he shouldn't have taken. But again, it was out of his own trust in his own doctor, who I think should have known what he's doing. It you just it's frustrating. I think they should do it. Should be more lenient on Pedro here. Look into these things a little bit further. It's not like I don't think the guy was trying to mask. I don't think the guy was trying to get an edge over the game. I just think it's sometimes common sense isn't in the play here. There's a horrible accident. I would hate. I'm not trying to compare a human life to a game by any means, but still, you look at the case. There's a horrible accident. A truck driver got sentenced for 110 years for a vehicular homicide when he was given a faulty truck. Mistakes were made and he should have faced something, but be sentenced for the rest of your life. Even though that was the minimum, and the judge at the time, the judge, I should say, didn't agree with the sentence he was giving out and even said so. It was the minimum he could give the guy. The governor of Colorado looked into it and reduced the sentence significantly. And in normal cases, that doesn't happen. Again, with the normal case here, you have the three guys that are suspended for 80 games for using anabolic steroids. I don't believe that Pedro Severino is the normal case. I really think that they should look into this a little farther, cut a little bit of leniency on the guy. Again, don't forget he did it. Don't be like, oh, it don't even count as your first strike. No, it counts as your first strike. Cut him down to 40 games. 40 games is still a lot. I think he definitely still learn from that. I think that is the fair punishment for what he did, unless they can prove that it was something that he was trying to mask, or he can't provide even proof that his family physician did prescribe this to him for fertility. But now on top of that, his private business. We should have never known that Pedro and his wife are struggling to have children. That's not our business. You don't want people knowing that about you. You wouldn't want your neighbors knowing about it, about the whole world, let alone the whole world. So that's what I got on that one. I do think that they should reevaluate this, but it doesn't sound like Pedro's even going to bother to fight it. Comment if you'll agree or disagree, or even just like if you agree and dislike if you disagree. I'd like to hear and see the feedback from my followers, from my viewers, and that's something that can help continue to make this show better. So with that, Mr. Seamhead signing off and wishing everybody a great night.